The Lord be with you.
And with you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus said to his disciples, "A rich man had a steward who was reported to him for squandering his property. He summoned him and said, 'What is this I hear about you? Prepare a full account of your stewardship, because you can no longer be my steward.' The steward said to himself, 'What shall I do, now that my master is taking the position of steward away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do, so that when I am removed from the stewardship, they may welcome me into their homes.' He called in his master's debtors, one by one. To the first he said, 'How much do you owe my master?' He replied, 100 measures of olive oil.' He said to him, 'Here is your promissory note. Sit down and quickly write one for 50. Then to another he said, 'And you, how much do you owe?' He replied, 100 measures of wheat.' He said to him, 'Here is your promissory note. Write one for 80. And the master commended that dishonest steward for acting prudently. For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than the children of light." The Gospel of the Lord. Yeah, this is a very, very difficult gospel passage that we've been given this morning, and I think that it will take a very long time for us to understand what's going on in the gospel passage, and then to be able to draw out from the gospel passage, what it means for us and what we should do as a result of it. So I'm going to skip some of that, and hope that if you are curious about the gospel passage, you will engage in conversation with someone who is likewise interested about the passage. So maybe your teacher or your parent. Sorry to shift the shift the burden onto you teachers, but your teachers, maybe your parents, or even if you see me, we can discuss it together. But what I want to say is, in broader strokes, is to see that Jesus uses this concept of steward and master a lot, and there's a lot that we have to get out of that relationship. We see that the master of the house is God, and the steward is the people that he has called into his service. So God has called people to do something very important for him, and that is to be his mirror. We're made in God's image and likeness, and so we're made to praise God, we're made to love God, and then we're made to bring his love to life in the world. This is the greatest part of our stewardship. Stewardship means that, in fact, what we have, everything we have, is not ours, it's God's. Even the time that we have today is God's. And it's a gift that he has given us to share. And it's to be used for his purposes. Even the people around you, to you, are a gift that God has given. And we are to bring what God gives us to bear in their life. And what does God give us? Chiefly, mainly, God gives us his love. He gives us himself. We know that God is love. And so he gives himself to us, and we then are to embody his love, his charity, his goodness for the people around us. And our stewardship will look like that. But we have to be focused on the fact that everything God gives us, everything we have, and everything we are, is to be used by us for God's purposes. Here in this passage, And in many other passages beside in the New Testament, in the gospel, we see that the stewardship is being taken away from a people and given to others. It's being taken away from Israel, who were using the things of God for themselves, for what they wanted, for their own dreams, their desires, their aspirations, their ambition. And it's given to, the stewardship is given to the people gathered around Jesus. My friends, this morning, it's clear to me. I hope it's clear to you as well. We are gathered around Jesus at this Eucharistic altar, at this table. We bring ourselves to Jesus to give ourselves over to God and say, yes, God, I will serve you with everything that you've given me. And then we receive from God his own blessed life. We receive Jesus' body and blood so that we can continue to be good stewards. We can be inflamed by the love of God, and we can bring God's love to life wherever he has us today. That's our main concern as God's stewards. Everything he has given us, we now sign over to him to be used for his purposes alone.